going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of MavAttack. Today we're here to talk about virtual reality. It's slowly making its way into the mainstream market, getting more popularized, and I've really just been thinking about VR a lot lately. Like, is it a fad that's just going to come in and leave just like VR did in the past, or is it going to come and people are actually going to invest in it because they see the potential, they realize that the technology is there, and they see that it is the potential to be the future of gaming. So I'm just going to kind of talk about it a little bit, and I haven't actually gotten my hands on VR, so these are my thoughts and my opinions, and kind of just analyzing everything that I'm seeing so far as all of the VRs that are being developed, and then what they're being developed for, you know, how they're going to come into the market, how everything is going to play out. Now let's start with the Oculus Rift. Now this is the most popular one, in my own opinion. I feel like this is the most widely known VR headset. The main reason I wanted to bring up the Oculus Rift first is because it got a price tag. The Oculus Rift is $600 US currency. That is a lot of money for a 3D headset to put you into. That is the price. That is more than game consoles. That is a hefty price. So as we go in a little bit further, just keep that in mind, because it looks like these headsets are going to be very costly. So that's going to play a huge part in my decision making on whether I need to be a part of this VR movement, this VR wave, or I just need to sit out and let other people enjoy their experiences and just kind of wait. But we'll go into further detail later on about that. But there are a few different VR headsets that are on the market, currently in the making, or being advertised to be pushed out in this new year, 2016. So there's the PlayStation VR, there's the Oculus Rift, there's the Valve Vive, there's Gear VR, there's a bunch of different ones that are coming out, some for smartphones, some for PC. You know, obviously the one PlayStation VR is for the PlayStation 4, which will have its own processor or some shit. Like, these VR headsets are looking to just be some crazy pieces of technology. So I was reading some impressions of just simply using the headset, you know, first hands-on impressions. Some people did say that it gets really hot inside of the goggles while you're watching, you know, looking at your screens. It does get really hot in there. I'm not sure if a lot of headsets have, you know, some kind of ventilation system for your eyeballs, so your eyeballs can fucking breathe. You know, thinking about it from a practical standpoint, some of these headsets I know are heavier, so you can have neck and head fatigue, or even just simply be isolated and not have a way to see your outside world if you have your headset on, and then something happens, you hear a noise in your house, you gotta unstrap your headset, take it off. It just seems like a lot of work. You know, the implementation of maybe some kind of picture-in-picture or like a camera you can see on the outside world by the press of a button. Something like that would be cool, but you're just being cut off from the outside world. All the different things that could have a negative impact on your VR experience. I definitely want to see stuff like those fleshed out, and I'm not 100% if they do have, you know, if certain headsets do have some of those things. And I know there's a lot out there. There are a lot on the market, aside from the ones I listed. So hopefully we'll see some of those things that will take the strain off the head and the neck, you know, with lightening the device, or just simply adding, you know, little ventilation systems so your eyes can take a freaking breath every now and again. But just the overall of VR, I kind of look at it the same way I looked at 3D TVs. You guys remember the big surge, the big wave of 3D televisions? They were advertising, people were all open, wide-eyed, looking at them like, this is the future, this is going to be absolutely amazing. Who right now currently can say that they have a 3D television in their house? I know that it was one of those niche markets that they came out and people saw them and loved them, but only those big-time nerds are the ones that were very passionate or invested into 3D televisions actually went out and picked one up, and then it kind of faded off as, you know, 2K, 4K televisions started coming out. You don't really have a need for 3D anymore, and it's, you know, strenuous on the eyes, all that stuff. But that's just one of my questions when I'm thinking of VR, is it's something that's going to be extremely awesome to everybody that's seeing it. There's only going to be a niche amount of people that really find the VR that awesome to putting their coin into owning one for themselves. So that's one thing that I think about when just thinking about the future of it, because VR did die in the past, you know, with its not up to par technology, hurting people's eyes. It just didn't work out for Nintendo's vision of VR. Like, none of that shit worked out in the past. So now that we have the technology, that kind of changes the game a little bit. And another question that pops up in my mind is the market. Like, what kind of market is there going to be for VR? What sort of games are going to release for the VR? You know, how is the VR headset going to work in conjunction with the design of the game? How is it going to immerse you but also work well with the design of the game and not clash and conflict with it? I know there's a huge market for horror games in the VR universe because it puts you in a scary situation and that has you reacting to certain things, looking around frantic. But what other types of games are really going to push this forward? Are shooters going to end up working out in this thing? Like, is something like Star Citizen going to be just extremely immersive with VR? Or sometimes I even think if some VR headsets don't come with motion controls or anything that you can actually physically move around with. Is that gonna ruin immersion too? Because your body is planted, you're stuck, but your head is still moving, but you have your keyboard and mouse or your controller, your head is still moving. Now, going back to talking about the games aspect of it, I don't really see a game coming out and taking full advantage of what this headset has to offer, aside from the horror genre. Now, I'm gonna use the example of the Capcom Kitchen demo that was shown at E3. Not shown, but people were shown playing it at E3. And Now, for me being a person that has high anxiety and gets really stressed out about really scary situations and whatnot, especially in gaming, you know, I really feel like this would definitely not sway me to purchase a VR, especially if the market is going to kind of lean more towards the horror genre while putting in, you know, different types of games. Like, there was one game that was announced not too long ago where you fly around as an eagle, right? You just fly through the skies with your friends, and that's with a VR headset, and so you can look down as an eagle, fly around through the skies. Stuff like that is cool, right? But how long is stuff like that going to last is the question. Now, like I said, haven't used them before, but I have friends, shout out to Mr. Mochi, by the way, I have friends that have actually gone to E3, put the headset on themselves, and said, this is absolutely amazing, this is it. Now, that right there puts my mind at ease and makes me want to become an early adopter of the technology and of just virtual reality in this whole era that we're entering in 2016. But like I said, at the same time, what is the market? What's the game market gonna be? I don't want to buy the headset and then use it once every 4 months. You know, I want something I can consistently come back to. I'm really trying to stay open-minded and going into the future because I'm noticing that VR is going to come in by storm. And with the hands-on impression I got from my buddy that went to E3, it really just has me thinking like, oh man, I'm so conflicted, but at the same time, I just welcome it. Like, I welcome some kind of something different. And if the technology is there and it's not just a gimmick like 3D TVs and how the VR was way back in the 80s, this could be the future of gaming. VR really could be the future of gaming. But thank you guys all so much for watching this episode of MavAttack. I know this was a little less gaming related, more tech, but I still wanted to bring it to the channel. I've just really been seeing VR pop up way more in the past year, so I really want to try to pay more attention to it and see where this is going to take gaming, and not even gaming, but just user to virtual world interaction, immersion, that mesh, you know what I'm saying? So please leave your thoughts and opinions of VR down in the comment section. Do you think that this is going to be something that is well received amongst the wider audience and not just the niche nerdy audience? Or do you think it's going to be one of those things that just come and go, just more similar to, like, you know, the 3D TVs like I was talking about, or even, you know, going to the movie theaters and buying the real 3D glasses to watch? You know, is it going to be more than that? Or even, you know, a 3DS having a 3D option, fucking your eyes up and then turning it off because you're just tired of it and it's not worth it at the end of the road. Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts of VR are. Do you think VR is the future of gaming? Please attack that like button if you guys enjoyed this episode of MavAttack. All you he Mav stay rad, and all you she Mav stay fab, and I'll see you all on the next episode of MavAttack, motherfucker.